This is already something that has passed us to the point where we're not the country we should be or we used to be. Now, you voted for Trump. Tell me why this is okay with you.
All right, so in this video of Real Time with Bill Maher, things got spicy. Bill didn't hold back as he went head with a Fox News contributor who also happens to be a Trump supporter. The topic: free and fair elections and how each political party handles the results. And let's just say, Maher wasn't in the mood for whataboutism. The guest was Mary Katherine Ham, someone who's been on the show a bunch and is known for trying to bring a balanced perspective. But this time, when she tried to draw false comparisons between the two parties like, oh hey, both sides do it, Maher cut through it real quick. While Ham did admit that Trump's behavior post-election was more extreme, she still tried to soften the blow by throwing in some classic both sides energy. But Maher was having none of it. He made it clear he sees a huge difference between Democrats accepting tough losses and Republicans pushing conspiracy theories and undermining trust in the system. Basically, Maher was drawing a line in the sand. His point was that Democrats, love them or hate them, generally respect the outcome of elections, even when they lose. Meanwhile, Trump's refusal to concede and the chaos that followed in 2020, totally different level. And honestly, this episode was one of the best in a while. The debate was fiery, the stakes were high, and Maher came ready to throw down. So if you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor and check it out. You don't want to miss this one.
This is already something that has passed us to the point where we're not the country we should be or we used to be. Now, you voted for Trump. Tell me why this is okay with you.
Well, genuine thank you to Biden and Harris for doing what they should do. Right?
That he didn't do.
Yeah, and
Trump.
Yes, and Biden is, by the way, I'm not sure he knows he's in the room with Hitler, but he gets half credit for doing this peacefully, right?
All right, let's just get this out of the way. Mary Katherine Ham is not the loudest Trump defender on Fox News. She's not out there screaming election fraud or storming Capitol buildings. But even so, the way she handles the topic of the 2020 election and the peaceful transfer of power still manages to twist the narrative in Trump's favor. She gives Biden and Harris a little credit for doing the right thing, for showing up and respecting the transition. But the way she says it, it's almost like only Democrats are expected to do that, like it's some kind of bonus points moment.
When really, let's be honest, it's the bare minimum. Every administration, no matter the party, is supposed to ensure a peaceful transfer of power.
That's not optional, that's democracy 101, but instead of holding Trump accountable for completely refusing to do that, Ham lets it slide. Trump didn't just skip out on tradition, he straight up tried to overturn the results. And that deserves criticism, not silence, so when Bill Maher steps in and calls it out, Ham brushes it off and throws out a sarcastic line about Biden getting half credit and not knowing he was in the room with Hitler. That joke might sound like a throwaway, but it's actually a jab at the many times Democrats and even Trump's own people have called out his behavior as fascistic. Think about that generals like Mark Milley, people like John Kelly and James Mattis have used that word. These aren't Miss hosts. They were in the room. They saw it up close. If Ham doesn't like that framing, cool. She can take it up with the folks who were right there beside Trump while he was doing it. But trying to downplay it or act like it's just partisan noise that doesn't fly when the stakes are this high.
Another thing here, we had a contest in democracy by listening to the voters about what they cared about most. And I think one of the issues with voters was that making January 6th, 9/11, making that day into everything, did not win that fight. It didn't win the fight about what they cared about most. There were other things in their personal lives.
That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, you know that if Trump had lost this election, right now, we would be talking about the votes that are still coming in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, and he'd be in the courts, and we would just be all in a tizzy. One side accepts election losses and one side doesn't. This asymmetry cannot continue.
This part is honestly fascinating to break down because Mary Katherine Ham, like a lot of Trump supporters, really shows us one of the biggest contradictions in their whole argument style. You've probably heard this one before. They'll say something like, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. Whenever someone brings up the popular vote, it's their go to move for dismissing the idea that majority rule matters. But here's the twist: the moment Trump even gets close to winning the popular vote or grabs a plurality, suddenly it's all cheers and chest. beating like he's got this overwhelming mandate from the American people. Just a total flip. All of a sudden, the popular vote matters again. Let's be real about the numbers. Trump has never won a majority of the popular vote. Not in 2016, not in 2020. And when you throw in third party and right in votes along with those cast for his opponents, the margin looks even smaller. So no, he's not backed by a majority. He's got a plurality at best. That's a pretty long way from the landslide. Some of his supporters like to claim, and what's wild is how that same energy completely disappears when Democrats win both the popular vote and the Electoral College, and often by bigger margins than Trump ever did. Suddenly, it's back to, well, we're a republic. The rules change depending on who's winning, and that tells you everything. This isn't just about numbers. Standards. Trump supporters tend to move the goalposts. They hype up whatever helps their narrative and downplay anything that doesn't. It's all about asymmetry. Whether it's elections or arguments, they operate under one set of rules for themselves and a totally different one for everyone else.
Defending it cannot just look past it like, well, we won the election, so that's it.
Well, currently Bob Casey, Democratic senator in Pennsylvania, is doing exactly what you're saying, where he's looking for all these votes and and the Bucks County commissioners are saying, we need fake ones, we need to get all the ones that are unregistered.
No, they're just counting them.
No, that's not actually true.
They're just counting them.
It's not actually true. And if you dismiss that and you don't recognize the mote in your own eye, then that is a problem.
So you're saying Bob Casey, in this, that's equivalent to Trump in 2020?
No, I don't say they're equivalent. I say that you have to recognize that these things happen, for instance, in 2016 and 2000.
Because even though she's not one of the extreme MAGA types, she still has a habit of pivoting in ways that downplay real accountability. A great example of this is when she tried to equate Trump's premature declaration of victory in 2020 with Pennsylvania Democrat Josh Shapiro's insistence on counting all the votes. And let's be clear here, those are not the same thing. Shapiro was saying, hey, every legal vote needs to be counted. That's just how elections work. Trump, on the other hand, came out and claimed he won before the votes were even fully tallied. One is about upholding the process. The other is about trying to undermine it. Trying to draw a line between the two just muddies the waters. Then there's her use of that biblical analogy, the one about removing the mote in your own eye before pointing out the log in someone else's. But here's the irony: while she's using that scripture to call out Democrats, she's doing exactly what the verse warns against, ignoring the giant issues on her own side. Instead of facing the deep documented failures of Trump and Republican leadership, she pivots to nitpicking Democrats. It's deflection, plain and simple now. Say what you want about Bill Maher and his hot takes on culture. He's no stranger to controversy, but in this moment, he actually gets it right. He calls out the false equivalencies and puts the focus back where it belongs, on the moral failures of the Republican Party and the dangerous precedent Trump set after losing in 2020. What Maher does here is important. He refuses to let people get away with softening the truth. When we're talking about democracy, about trust in elections and peaceful transfers of power, there's no room for watered-down excuses. Accountability shouldn't be a partisan thing. It's a principle. And Maher, for all his flaws, doesn't let that principle slide. It's a strong reminder that we have to hold our leaders to the same standards, no matter what letter is next to their name. But hey, I want to know what you think about all this. Do you buy into the argument that unpredictability keeps our enemies in check? Or do you lean more toward the idea that stability and democratic values are the real strength? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them, and I love hearing different perspectives. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more thought-provoking content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.